Oh, good evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Sasha, and I'm the marketing manager here at Town Hall. On behalf of Town Hall Seattle and the Bushwick Book Club, it's my pleasure to welcome you. We are so glad to have you here tonight, both in person and to our friends out there on the computer. Hello. As we get underway, I would like to acknowledge that our institution stands on unceded traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, particularly the Duwamish. We thank them for our continued use of the natural resources of their ancestral homeland. We are very excited to partner with the Bushwick Book Club Seattle to present a portion of their season at Town Hall here on the stage. Be sure to tune in online or in person for the next Bushwick event that takes place at Town Hall on June 8th with performances inspired by genderqueer and sex is a funny word. Woo! Finally, Town Hall Seattle and the Bushwick Book Club Seattle are both member-supported organizations, so I'd like to thank all of the members here and watching online. Tonight, Bushwick brings together a group of talented performers in a creative response to Mouse by Art Spiegelman. Please join me in welcoming our MC for this evening, Wes Weddell.
Now translated for the stage. It don't matter what your
Thank you.
age is.
I was supposed to let the music play a little longer, but you were clapping, so I came out. And I want at-home viewers to know that that went really smoothly in the room, even if it might not have translated to small screen. Hello, welcome. Welcome to original music inspired by Art Spiegelman's Mouse. I am Wes Weddell. I am Associate Director of Bushwick Northwest, a 501c3 nonprofit that oversees the Bushwick Book Club Seattle and style songwriting through youth literature education. I am a 6-foot-tall white guy who kept his pandemic facial hair. I am wearing my Banned Books season t-shirt. Oh, yes, thank you. I assume that is for the facial hair, that applause. This is Bushwick Book Club Seattle's 15th season, programming monthly concerts of original music inspired by literature. And all of the titles on our season this year are books that have been challenged somewhere in the world, banned books. If not now, when? Thank you for being here and supporting that mission. What's going to happen is you're going to hear 2 acts of music. Original music, brand new songs, never before publicly performed, inspired by Mouse. 2 acts, there will be an intermission in between. After intermission, there will be a quiz. You do not have to have read the book to participate in the quiz. And if you have read the book, it will not help you. You can win some prizes. If you're posting about us tonight, use the hashtag Bushwick Book Club and tag away. And again, we want to send a special hello to our at-home or otherwise screen-engaged viewers. It's so nice that we can do this. The Holocaust Center for Humanity is also here. Yeah. Holocaust Center for Humanity builds courageous communities by teaching and honoring the history, stories, and lessons of the Holocaust. These lessons give people of all ages an empathetic lens to view today's complex issues and see the role they can each play in fighting hate. HolocaustCenterSeattle.org, or please visit Anna and Jess over at the table over there on the, what would be the north side of the room, or at home viewers, the website is probably the place to go. Tonight, you will hear brand new works from Abby Kay, Michael Owcharuk, Steve Mason, Daniel Tam-Claiborne, CARMAIG, Julia Massey, Reggie Garrett with Christine Gunn, Leanna Keith, Claire Idstrom, and if you didn't get enough the first time, Christine Gunn again. Yeah, make some noise for that. Originally serialized from 1980 to 1991, Mouse depicts author-illustrator Art Spiegelman interviewing his father about his experiences as a Polish Jew and Holocaust survivor. In 1992, it became the first and only graphic novel to win a Pulitzer Prize. In 2022, the Board of Trustees from McMinn County Schools in East Tennessee voted unanimously to remove Mouse from the curriculum over concerns including profanity, violence, and nudity. The backlash that resulted drove Amazon sales of Mouse to rise to #1 overall for books that month, and the group voters for tomorrow, distributing the book and other challenge titles to students in Texas and in Virginia. Let's get started with the music. First up tonight is Abby Kay. Abby Kay draws upon many influences in her music, from her early childhood days in Kentucky and her exposure to the great American songwriters that transformed everyday stories into lyrical paintings. Since moving to Seattle, she has firmly planted deep roots in the songwriter music community, and in 2023, she chose to give back via her organization, Mosaic Mercer Island. Fun fact, Abby loves baking bread and swing dancing at the same time, or are those separate pursuits?
Separate events.
Okay, good to clarify. Abby Kay.
Hello. I am a white female, about 5'4", although I'm sitting. I have gray-ish hair. Thank you, Jeff. And I'm wearing mostly black with a little hint of floral.
And I'm her son. I'm Jared, and I'm like 5'9", and I'm wearing a lot of gray, and I'm going to be playing on my viola.
All right. Yes, thank you. I wouldn't have done that. What struck me about Mouse, this book, it sat around in my house for a number of years because it was required reading in Washington in middle school. And I remember looking at it, but I reread it for tonight's event. And what struck me the most about it was the turbulent father and son relationship. A father unwilling to speak of his past, and a son burdened by guilt for not fully understanding. Their complex bond, though strained, is ultimately driven by a powerful message of hope, survival, and the unspoken love between them. And this is my song. My son, let me tell you a story of no glory, a time of war, the tale when death came knocking at my door, the silent weight you've carried, now a grown man, pressure to feel happy, a fight you never win, wrapped with guilt 'cause I was strong enough to live. Oh, darling, to die is easy. You must struggle to find joy in life. Hope, dear wife, I need you will get through this together, and you'll see, no matter what, we will survive. Digging for sunshine, I keep trudging on. The toll that it took on your mother, so withdrawn, a brother you never knew, both now long gone. I'm not certain of answers, but son, I know life as you know it today can always be worse. This too shall pass, my legacy clear. I'll carry you, reminding you, love sometimes in life things are the way they are. Never lose hope. Dig deep down to your core, and you, my son, will be prepared when death comes knocking at your door. La 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 la. Thank you.
Abby Kay. We keep a digital program for this show and all of our shows. So if you missed something from previous months or years, you can go visit. You can point your phone at the QR code that's going to be coming up to my left, hopefully on your screen at home, or visit bit.ly/mouse, MAUS-PGM. We have links to all the artists you're going to hear from tonight, to our partner organizations, ways to connect with Bushwick, because a lot of these performers do a whole lot more than write one song about one book once a year. And they'd love for you to stay in touch and support them. Coming up next is Michael Owcharuk. Michael Owcharuk is a pianist, composer, and accompanist for Pacific Northwest Ballet. He has been composing and performing music for dance, theater, film, and various ensembles in the region for over 20 years, and writing songs for Bushwick since the first season. 2010-2011 is when that happened. He has joined us in the past for original music inspired by Dune, The Phantom Tollbooth, The Dark Knight Returns, 1984, The Sparrow, Pride and Prejudice, Our Jackstraw Partnership, and many others. Michael Owcharuk.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Kind of see me. There we go. Hi. Thank you, everybody. So, my name is Michael Owcharuk, as Wes just said. Thank you, Wes. With me, I have Claire Idstrom.
You got it.
Thank you. And Leanna Keith, which I've been saying her first name wrong for so long. I'm so sorry. So I'm a 6'2", slim white guy for all you listening at home. I'm wearing a blue and pink, white plaid shirt and jeans and glasses. And Claire and Leanna will be performing later, so they will do the descriptions. But I'm very, very, very stoked to have enlisted their help in this song. So, Art Spiegelman's Mouse. I came across this book like circa 1993 in St. Mark's Comics in the East Village in New York City. I was in high school, and I just always bummed around the comic book shop, and I remember sitting on the floor and like reading almost the whole first book. It had just won the first book had just won the Pulitzer Prize the year before, and I couldn't finish it because they kicked me out because I didn't buy anything. Yeah, I was like sitting on the floor cross-legged for like 45 minutes. Anyway, it's that's the only humorous thing really I could say, but it's really powerful. I'm Ukrainian, and my paternal grandparents were in forced labor by the Nazis. It's a really long story that I'm not going to get into here, but that's where they met and then ended up in a displaced persons camp at the end of World War II. Luckily, in the American sphere of influence of Germany, so they waited for the lottery for about 5 years. My dad was born in that camp. And so there was a lot that related to me. And then growing up, we had a house in the Catskills, just like the Spiegelmans, where they would go. And my grandmother spoke German and Russian and Ukrainian and a little bit of Polish, and she understood Yiddish, so she would always talk with the other Jewish ladies at the lake when we were down there, and I would catch every other word. And they were all of that generation, so she talked to a lot of survivors and stuff. So it always had, it had a very meaningful impact on me. And rereading it now for this show, there was one line in the second book when Abraham is speaking to Vladek when they get to Auschwitz first. They were supposed to go to Hungary, but there was this whole intrigue, and they're kind of looking at the camp, and Abraham says to him, he goes, "And there's only one way out of here for all of us, through those chimneys." And that hit me real hard. So what I have for you today, it's kind of a two-part thing. They all blend together. The first part is a melody that I found for the Mourner's Kaddish, and that Leanna's going to play on the flute, and then I added some text at the end here. And I was talking to Abby backstage, we were running through it earlier, because as far as I know, this melody is written anonymously. I added some chords and tweaked it a little bit, and she and her son was like, we recognize this. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I was like, I tried to do my due diligence with research and could not find the author of it because I'd like to credit them. So in addition, if anybody recognizes this melody, knows who wrote it, please tell me. So you hear that first, and then kind of the sung part that Claire's going to sing, we're all going to do together, is text I wrote and a melody I wrote for it. So without further ado, thank you very much.
Owcharuk, joined by Leanna Keith, Claire Idstrom. All right, well, it is time for our first timer of the evening. That's right. As we celebrate our 15th season, we did a little number crunching and databasing and learned that over 400 different individual performers have appeared on the Bushwick stage since 2010. We're pretty proud of that, and we're looking to keep that number climbing, and it will climb by a couple tonight. So let's give a big first-time welcome to Steve Mason. Steve is a proud Northwesterner who performs what he calls time travel tunes in concerts, churches, wine events, not just, okay, and other listening venues. You never invite me to your wine events. Steve's accessible, poignant, and oftentimes witty performances elevate the spirit of all ages and audience members. He loves that music can uplift, validate, and celebrate the commonality in each of our journeys. Fun fact, his cousin Stevens Mason was the youngest governor in the U.S. at age 21. Governor of Michigan from 1835 to 1840. So some big shoes to fill there with your wine events there, buddy. First timer, Steve Mason.
Thanks, Wes. Thanks. Thanks very much. Thanks, Wes. We were here for, we were at a Bushwick event for, I'll use that word carefully, I guess, for Dogman last year, and my daughter, who we called Little Wonder, and she then said, I must be Stevie Wonder. So, my daughter had read Mouse in school, and I had never read it, and it was really, I was telling Abby backstage that it was interesting how the graphic novel piece just kind of drifts away after a few pages, because the story is, well, it's not a story because it's based on reality, and there's so much in there. So what I took away from it was, if I think about the way I write songs, many of them are they're kind of mantras for me to dive into, to remind myself of things that are important, and then hopefully share those things if it makes sense. So what I wrote is something called Pray, Pray, and the first one is the verb, P-R-A-Y, and the second one is the noun, P-R-E-Y. So this is called Pray, Pray. What if you awaken from a nightmare and there's actually blood running from claw marks and skin tears? And your ears are still ringing from the endless cries and the screaming and your own uncontrollable sobs and squeals when you find that the nightmare is real. Pray you're never the prey, where all but your soul has been taken away. When the enemy decides who lives today or dies, I pray you're never the prey. I pray you never have to hide in darkness day and night, one wet match for a light. In hopeless disbelief, no heroes, no relief. I pray you never have to hide. I pray you never have to hide. There are unspeakables we can't unsee it all, but we've seen it, we gotta speak it. History keeps repeating it. People tortured and terrorized, marginalized, dehumanized, lives ended right before our eyes. I pray you never have to flee or fight under threat of death, forced to decide. With tail between your legs and you're outnumbered, oh, I beg, I pray it's never flee or fight. I pray you never have to flee or fight. I pray if you're ever the prey, that there I will be to give you what you need. A place where freedom rings, a place of peace and healing. I pray if you're ever the prey, I pray if you're ever the prey. See those unspeakables, we can't unsee it all. We see it, let's speak it. History can't just keep repeating it. There's only so much that we can take. So I'll get on my knees, Creator, please, before we break. I pray if you're ever the prey, oh, that there I will be to give you what you need. A place where freedom rings, a place of peace and healing. I pray if you're ever the prey, I pray if you're ever the prey. A place where freedom rings, a place of peace and healing. I just pray you're never the prey. Thanks very much.
Steve Mason, welcome to the club. That was an event. I want to take a moment to recognize Barbie Statman, who is here in the room and happens to be Bushwick's graphic designer for all of this season's artwork. Designed this shirt. All right, there it is there. Yeah, designed the mouse poster and all of the posters. I believe we sold out of prints of tonight's mouse poster before we even started, but we will happily take pre-orders and mail one to you. In a little bit, you'll hear about how you can get a special copy of one. But anyway, we're so lucky to have these visual representations of our seasons from Barbie Statman, and I wanted to say so out loud. Thank you, Barbie. The official title of an event like this may be original music inspired by mouse, but we welcome all sorts of types of creations. And we're going to bring up a non-musical act now, or maybe it's just lyrics that haven't yet found their melody. This is Daniel Tam-Claiborne. Daniel is a multiracial writer, multimedia producer, and nonprofit director. He is the author of the short story collection What Never Leaves, and his writing has appeared in Catapult, Literary Hub, Off Assignment, The Rumpus, HuffPost, and elsewhere. You writers just list everything. Every time, a 2022 National Endowment for the Arts Literature Fellow. He has also received support from, here comes another list, U.S. Fulbright Program, Kundiman, Sewanee Writers Conference, the New York State Summer Writers Institute, and others. TLDR, Daniel's a big deal. His debut novel, Transplants, was a finalist for the 2023 Penn Bellwether Prize for Socially Engaged Fiction, and is forthcoming from Regalo Press in 2025. Fun fact, Daniel occasionally collaborates with my cousin Noah. He's joined us in the past for original music and whatever he does inspired by Blue Highways. Daniel Tam-Claiborne.
Thank you so much, Wes. We're incredibly insecure, so that's why we need to write everything down. Thank you so much, Wes. Thank you so much to the entire Bushwick Book Club team. It's really a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. The performance has been so incredible, so I'm just really grateful to be in the room. I am a 6-foot-tall, ethnically ambiguous cis man wearing a striped shirt and jeans. I first read Mouse back in college, and among many other things, the thing that struck me most reading it again was just how horrifyingly and astonishingly relevant it all still feels today. I promise you don't want to hear me sing or perform music, so I'll be reading, as Wes mentioned, an excerpt from a personal essay, and some more of the inspiration and connection to mouse will become apparent very soon. And I'm also very close to time, so I'll just get on with it. So this is Eating Bitter. The first time I fasted for Yom Kippur wasn't with my family or at synagogue. It was in the small rural Chinese town of Taigu, 400 miles west of Beijing. The year was 2009. I was 22, freshly graduated, and faced with dwindling job prospects in the States, I left. China was one of the few places seemingly impervious to the fallout of the global recession. It also happened to be the ancestral homeland of my immigrant mother, whose family had fled China first to Cuba and then to the United States during the Sino-Japanese War. My childhood in New York was marked with traces of that lineage, lighting firecrackers outside my third-floor fire escape every Lunar New Year, burning colored paper at the gravesite of the Chinese grandparents I never met. But being mixed race means only ever having partial authority. Without speaking the language and having never stepped foot in the country, I knew there was a part of my family history I would never fully understand. I accepted a 2-year fellowship to teach English at the local university in Taigu. It was winter. Snow was coming down in thick, coal-hued heaps, and rats had taken up residence inside our walls. Of the school's nearly 20,000 students, foreign teachers numbered exactly 6. Before I left for China, it struck me that the whole experience would be a chance to finally come to terms with my identity. But in Taigu, there didn't seem to be any outward confusion. Despite my best efforts at assimilating, marked by my passport and appearance, I remained simply a foreigner. When Annie, one of my fellow American English teachers, brought up the idea of fasting for Yom Kippur, I was skeptical. Even more than my unease at claiming my Chinese heritage, I struggled with what it meant to be Jewish. My father, a secular Anglo-American Jew, had never imparted much, if anything, about Judaism. I'd never had a bar mitzvah or studied a word of Hebrew. I envied my Jewish classmates less for their observance than for their seeming profusion of fall holidays. Most of what I pieced together about my own culture came from watching reruns of Seinfeld. What is that, like not eating? I asked. A willful denial of food seemed unlike any Chinese tradition I could imagine. I knew enough that Annie and I were the only Jews for hundreds of miles. Yet what did Judaism have to do with me? You're clearly not Asian enough for China, she told me, over 2 tall bottles of Qingdao. So you might as well be Jewish. 2, Asian and Jewish Americans have made for unlikely bedfellows in the arc of American history, 2 immigrant groups often distinguished for their work ethic, but also persecuted for standing out, made to bear the distinction and burden of immigrant success. In my family's 2 journeys to the States, I saw the twining of these 2 strands of my identity. My father's grandparents escaped from pogroms in Lithuania and Eastern Europe, alongside my mother's parents' expulsion from China. And yet, attempts at allyship have also been fraught, especially for individuals who occupy both identities at the same time. And at no point in recent memory has this felt truer than 6 October 7th. 3, counting down the hours until sunset, I was restless. I felt dizzy, lightheaded. Even my multivitamins started to look enticing. I cursed Annie under my breath. It was hard not to view the entire foray into Jewish culture less like an initiation and more like a hazing. And yet, by the time Annie and I broke fast, a kind of euphoria overcame me. I felt pride at having accomplished something I didn't know I could do. But more than that, I reveled at the permission to exert my own interpretation of a tradition that had my whole life felt off limits to me. It was empowering to enact a piece of my identity in a place where other parts didn't feel accepted. Over the next several years, I tried on other facets of my Judaism. Back stateside, I attended Yom Kippur services. I observed Passover. I began seeking out other Jews of color with whom I could share this complicated and sometimes conflicted relationship. In 2012, I chose to attend a birthright trip to Israel. Even though I signed up with their most progressive provider, I harbored no misconceptions about the particular lens through which the experience would be rendered. What I didn't expect was how similar it felt to being in China. From nearly the moment I landed in Taegu, there was so much I had to willfully acquiesce as recompense for living there. Food safety scandals, corruption, the Great Firewall. But there were bigger concerns too. The crackdown on pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong, re-education camps for Uyghurs in Xinjiang that threatened some of the most vulnerable members of Chinese society. That cognitive dissonance extended to my view of Israel. While we got to know soldiers in the IDF, our tour never put us in contact with Palestinians. For security reasons, we weren't allowed to travel to the West Bank, to Gaza, to East Jerusalem. There was little, if any, mention of the experiences of those living under occupation. I grappled with those issues, labeled them as incongruous with my own values, while at the same time celebrated my time in both countries. In the wake of the war, I've been left with more questions than answers. I disavowed the extremist and reckless actions of the Israeli administration, and yet maintain a deep appreciation for Jewish ritual and tradition. I fear the continued rise of authoritarianism in China and its potential implications for conflict with the US, and yet desperately yearn to return. What does it mean to love a culture and a place and take pride in it, but not the decisions of its government? 4. At the start of my second year of teaching in Taegu, a new set of foreign teachers were hired to replace those who had left. My friend Annie had moved back home to the Bay Area, and I was now the only Jew on campus. I wanted to continue the tradition of fasting we'd started together, but the feeling of imposter syndrome returned. I needed a real Jew to show me how to do it. I had to remind myself why I had wanted to fast to begin with. Yom Kippur is the Jewish Day of Atonement, where we repent for our misdeeds and seek forgiveness. I've always admired this quirk of Judaism, that instead of being granted absolution for our sins, we have to work a little for it. Fasting puts me in a state that is otherwise challenging to recreate in everyday life. I'm forced to live exclusively and often painfully in the present. Each minute feels infinite. I have to learn to sit with discomfort and can't will myself to look away. The day before the fast, I reached out to a couple of Chinese friends to ask if they wanted to take part. They didn't know all that much about Jewish customs, but they were interested in learning. One told me it reminded him of the Chinese phrase to eat bitter. I nodded, but my blank stare gave me away. He explained that eating bitter had nothing to do with food. It meant to persevere, to endure hardship, to sacrifice something without knowing what, if anything, will come of it in return. Embracing this kind of uncertainty feels especially important today. Allyship is, at its core, about seeing each other's shared humanity. It's not that we can't disagree, it's that we commit ourselves to trying to understand one another, our histories, our stories, our beliefs, in all their startling difference, even if, at times, it can be almost unbearably uncomfortable to do so. At sundown, the three of us broke fast at a restaurant in town. At first, we stared mutely at the lazy Susan, preserving our strength. But as soon as the dishes arrived, those first few bites once again elicited elation. Cucumber and tart vinegar, braised eggplant, pulled noodles stewed with chicken and potato. If I'd been looking for difference, it was all around me. Our upbringings, our values, our political leanings, even our identity, pained as I was to admit. But at the time, I wasn't focused on any of that. I was still understanding myself, and we were forging an understanding together, bite by withheld bite. Thank you so much.
Daniel Tam-Claiborne. You can catch Daniel again right here in this building on May 8th in a Seattle Arts and Lectures event. He'll be in conversation with C. Pam Jang, again, May 8th here at Town Hall. And that debut novel, Transplant, launches on May 13th, so that's going to be an exciting month. And that Sal, that is a great time to mention that Seattle Arts and Lectures is an organization that we partner with as well. This is our 10th year of partnership with Seattle Arts and Lectures. Original music inspired by the authors who come through in part of their poetry series. And the very next one will also be right here on February 6th. It will be poet Naomi Shihab-Nye and music from Shelby Natasha. Really happy to be connected with Sal. We also mentioned that Michael Owcharuk was part of the Jack Straw partnership. This is close to 10 years, if not 10 years, that we've been doing original music inspired by the writers from that program. I believe Daniel Tam-Claiborne was one at one point. I don't know why he didn't put it in his list, but we're putting out just about every 2 weeks regular video releases of original music inspired by this year's group. Episode 7 just dropped, that's the verb, this past Wednesday with poetry from Becca Rose Hall and music from Jess Pillay. We got one more act, and then we're going to take an intermission, and then we got a lot more acts. And before we do that, to let you know about some things that you could do with your time during intermission, I want to bring up Bushwick's social media manager and essential cog, Emily Persia, to talk to you a little bit.
Aw, it's so fun to be called a cog. I'm Emily Persia. I am Bushwick's social media manager. I am a 5'7" white woman with red hair, green glasses. I'm wearing my season shirt as well, sporting a bit of a baby bump because I'm pregnant. And thank you. Feeling a bit nauseous, but we're good. We're here. So I wanted to talk to you all about membership. Are you having a good time tonight? It's a great thing, Bushwick. These shows are amazing. It's such a wonderful community that we have. Every show is so special and so unique. And we're really sustained and can continue on with our mission through your support, through membership. So we would love to have you sign up to be a member tonight. I want to really encourage you to sign up tonight because we have a very special members-only show coming up in March, our Fahrenheit 451 show. Will be for members only. That means you have to have a membership to attend that show. So if you were thinking about it, maybe that'll entice you to finally get a membership and join us. I also wanted to mention, we talked about Barbie Statman earlier and her incredible artwork. We have a very special, Wes mentioned we've sold out of our mouse posters tonight, except for one. We have a very special signed poster. All of the songwriters and musicians who you're seeing on stage tonight have signed this poster. And we have a silent auction going over at the merch table. So someone who has the highest bid at the end of the show will get to take home this very special, one-of-a-kind signed mouse poster. So please come see us at the merch table. We've got awesome merch. Most of our artists have merch over there. Sign up for a membership, get on our email list, and do the silent auction for this poster. See you at intermission.
Thank you, Emily. Cog that you are. All right, so coming up now is CARMAIG. Half of CARMAIG is a first-timer. The other half of CARMAIG is not. I'm going to stand over here, just out of the way. Ukulele punk icon CARMAIG DeForest and essential cog in the Bushwick machine, Amy Zoe, when added together, become Seattle-based uke punk CARMAIG. Fun fact, Amy Zoe creates a custom crossword puzzle for every show in the Bushwick season. If you scan that QR code, there's maybe a few of them hanging around the room too. Hopefully it's showing up in the chat at home, bit.ly/mouse-crossword. You can do an original crossword puzzle inspired by Mouse. Go to Amy's creator page and do all of her archives. That's so neat. What other organization in town gives you that? And we didn't even make you become a member to give you access to that, right? Very good. Again, CARMAIG is a first-timer. Amy has been on this stage a lot. Amy and Executive Director Jeff Larson and front of house sound tech Mo Preventure. Can we get a hand for Mo? And I used to be in a Bushwick band called Read and Destroy, which was the tagline from the first edition of Fahrenheit 451, where we would go around and do hour-long library programs. We have more stories than we had audience members from those times, but it was a lot of fun. Please give a 100% warm welcome and a 50% first-timer welcome to CARMAIG.
Thanks, you guys. This is CARMAIG DeForest over here. He's a jovial, 60-ish white man with sparkling red glasses and shoes to match. I'm Amy Zoe. I'm like 5'4.5", Madonna's height, and no big deal. Yeah, we're ready to play something. Although CARMAIG has his mouth taped shut, so we'll see what happens.
Back in the mid-'60s, I was maybe 9 or 10. Heil Hitler was a funny phrase. I'd chant with all my friends. The only Nazis that we knew were actors on TV, and Nazis were just big buffoons as far as I could see. In exaggerated accents a la Schultz and Colonel Klink, we'd sing this dirty ditty that I learned from my Uncle Carl. It goes like this.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Hitler, he only had one ball. Goring had two, but oh so small. Himmler was somewhat similar, and Go Balls had no balls at all. But now that I am older, Nazis aren't a laughing matter. Their brutal rise to power, their fascist reign of terror, even in a comic book where Jews are mice and Nazis cats and Poles are pigs, there's nothing funny about the Holocaust. Exhibit A is Art Spiegelman's mouse. Parts 1 and 2. You better light. Meet Vladimir Spiegelman, frail, always complaining. His wife, his life, his age, his health, and never can be happy. A survivor of the Holocaust many years ago, but the trauma doesn't linger. The trauma lingers on. Vladik's son, a graphic artist from his home estranged. Lately, art's been coming over for a welcome change. Artist now inspired, you might say compelled, to hear his father's story, a story he will tell. He wants all the specifics, no matter how horrific, a no-holds-bars description of hell. But first, we Flashback to 1968, Art's mother suicide. Devastated, Art and Vladik, we learned how Anya died. First he downed a bunch of pills, then to numb the pain. And then she slit her wrists, her arteries and veins. She did this in the bathtub, so blood would drip down the drain, instead of making a big stain on the hardwood floor or rug. Okay, now to Vladik's story. Meet young Art Spiegelman, healthy, strong, ambitious, hardworking, and resourceful, dedicated to the missus, privileged, well-connected, and in retrospect, quite lucky qualities. We'll see him. We will see him. Thanks to those qualities, survive. Confined first in the ghetto, the family stayed together, but then came separation, death for some, and enslavement for others. Vladik and Anya tried to save their son, but to no avail. And when they got to Auschwitz, they themselves were split apart. More than once, they almost each succumbed to despair. But Mouse isn't just Vladik's tale, it's also Art's. The story of an artist, how he makes his art. He can take a broken old man and his broken grown-up child, albeit imperfectly, they end up reconciled. Back to Vladik. More ordeals befell them before Nazis were defeated. So much death miraculously. Mark Vladik made it out alive, a survivor amidst the genocide. He made it to the other side, and happy ever after, reunited to his bride. The end. Wait, there's an epilogue. And where is it? Here we go. But before we say Auf Wiedersehen, fast forward to today. Fascism is thriving right in the USA. It's probably not too early to construct a place to hide for your friends or self who might face the threat of genocide or confinement in a labor camp. Yes, it could happen here. Maybe not this year, but soon. In the meantime, let us once again portray Nazis as buffoons. Join me, friend, in singing my Uncle Carl's bright tune. Are you ready?
All right, Jeff's got some lyrics up here on the screen for y'all. I think you can catch on pretty quick, yeah?
Dude, Hitler, he only had one ball, Goring, his but very small. Himmler was somewhat similar, and Go Balls had no balls at all. Let's try it again. I'll stay in a single key here.
It's the people's key, you know that?
Yeah. You ready? Hitler, he only had one ball. Goring had two, but oh so small. Himmler was somewhat similar, and Go Balls had no balls at all. That's right. Go Balls had no balls. at all.
Carmageddon, CARMAIG DeForest, Amy Zoe. If you join that sing along at home, throw some eggplant and peach emojis in the chat just so that we know that you're paying attention. We're gonna take a short intermission. We hope that you visit David at the bar. We hope that you visit the Holocaust Center for Seattle. We hope that you visit the Bushwick Information membership and merch table. We hope that you enter the quiz. And we'll be back soon. Thanks so much. All right, friends. Welcome back. Those of you in the room, those of you joined us at home, we hope you had a nice break as well. Maybe you visited your fridge. Hopefully you know where your own bathroom is, and I'm glad we're all back here and refocused. It is quiz time! For some reason, since 2012, we've had a quiz after intermission at every one of these Bushwick Book Club Seattle shows. Once again, having read the book will not help you. Alicia Baker, come on up. Can we get a hand for Alicia Baker? Volunteer extraordinaire. This is Alicia's maiden stagehand voyage here. So what's going to happen right now is let's make sure we're all on the same page here about the initial question that you would have filled out if you chose to enter the quiz. If you're one of those people who filled this out and is just now realizing that I might call your name and you have to come up on stage, there's always a couple of you in the room. I don't envy you. The question is, which animal type does not appear in the book? A, mouse. B, cat. C, pig. D, pterodactyl. We had a pterodactyl. That's correct. Yes. All right. If I call your name, come on up to the stage. There are stairs here, and we'll make it work. And see Alicia for further instructions. All right. Contestant the first. Maine. M-A-I-N? Oh, yeah!
Is she coming up?
That works as well. All right, contestant number 2. Flora. I can never tell if the tepid applause is like it can mean, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I had it. Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, a little substitution. Yeah, I can never tell if the tepid applause is like, it's not me, great, or it's like, I know this person and this is gonna go poorly. Like, so, right, we already have a switch up. Very good. Okay, contestant the third. Angela or Angel Witter? Yeah. Did I? Okay. That's all right. Sometimes this happens too. Contestant 3.1. Risa or Risa W. Hey! All right, we made it to 3. This is the tension building part of the quiz. Okay. So before I explain, thank you all for coming up, playing the quiz, preemptively. Before I explain exactly how this happens, let's talk about what you might win, just to build tension further. Everyone will get a prize. First person to 3 correct answers gets their first choice of the prizes. The prizes today all come from Out-of-Print Shirts, Out-of-Print Clothing Company in Brooklyn, which sends us shirts periodically. We have a Where the Wild Things Are, I'll Eat You Up, being modeled by Alicia. We have I read banned books. And we have read banned books. Very good. First place will get first pick. So here's how it works. Everything in the quiz is, you guys can come closer. This is, all right. You'll be speaking into that microphone. You'll be going in the order that you pick. So contestant 1, 2, 3. And is it Mari? Mari. Yeah. And Risa or Risa? Risa. Very good. We'll see if I remember. So everything here is category A or category B. I will say a thing, and you tell me if it's category A or category B. It's very simple. It's funny when you're wrong. And tonight's categories are mouse or Victorian insult. That's right. Everything I say is either a type of mouse or a Victorian insult. All right, Mari, step on up to the microphone. Can we get a hand for Michael Owcharuk? Heightening the tension as only he can. Okay. All right. How about Dunnert?
Mouse.
That's correct. Dunnert is a carnivorous marsupial, kind of like the Tasmanian devil. Very good. All right. Let's see. Step on up. Fly rink.
Victorian insult.
That's correct. It's a term documented in 1875 for a polished bald head. Risa. Yellowneck.
Mouse.
That's correct. Look at you. Say South China Field. Wow. Okay. Round 2. Knockout.
Victorian insult.
No. Knockout is a genetically modified mouse that has had one or more of its genes made inoperable through a gene knockout. Oh, I see. All right. Spiny pocket.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Spiny pocket. What's going to help you by looking up?
Victorian insult.
No. It's a mouse found in Baja California, Arizona, California, and Nevada. Risa, you could go ahead here if you're correct about wagtail.
Victorian insult.
That's correct. Wagtail is a promiscuous woman, or less commonly, a desolate man.
What?
You heard me. Okay. Shabaroon. Shabbaroon. Somebody else asked, but I decided to.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Victorian insult.
That's correct. Yeah, an ill-dressed, shabby fellow, also a mean-spirited person. Okay. Church bell.
Victorian insult.
That's correct. Okay. Is a talkative woman. Unsurprisingly, Victorian insults are very gendered. Okay, this is for the win. This is for the win here. Okay. Old field.
Mouse.
That's correct. All right, we're going to keep playing. Because you don't just get a T-shirt for coming up here. You get a T-shirt for coming to 3. Risa can just watch from here on out. All right. A lobcock.
Can you spell it?
Lobcock. Lobcock.
I'm gonna go Victorian insult.
That's correct. And it is exactly what you think it is. All right.
Okay.
It's all you the rest of the way here. Big-eared hopper.
Mouse.
That's correct. Sadly, the big-eared hopper is extinct, but you're all winners. Anyway, please meet me over there shortly, and we will distribute prizes. Thank you for playing the Bushwick Quiz. Michael Owcharuk, giving us a little bit of underscoring. All right, and now having switched to this mic, let's bring up the next musical act tonight. Julia Massey can be found performing in her band Warren Dunes when she isn't hanging with her friends at the local elementary school. That's what she submitted on the form. I should clarify, she works at a local elementary school. She's also been known to lose her voice cheering at Little League games. Fun fact, she knows a killer magic trick. She has joined us in the past for original music inspired by Bonk, Goodnight Moon, The Boys in the Boat, and so many others. Julia Massey.
Thank you, Wes. I feel like I have to show you the magic trick before I start. Yes, I forgot I put that in there. Okay, so here we go. Also, I am a pale, freckly person with reddish hair, some baggy green pants, and a starter blue jacket. And I have a gold ring on my thumb. And I think I'm going to actually describe what's happening without revealing the trick as I'm going along. So I am here, I've got the ring on my thumb, and now who knows where, wait, oh, it seems like it's under my armpit. But wait, I'm looking at the piano. Wait a minute. It's in the piano! How did it get there? I don't know. Okay. And yes, I do that at the elementary school where I work multiple times a day. The kids who behave themselves get to find out how I did it on the last day of school. But I digress. By being an educator in an elementary school in special education, it means that I make a lot of mistakes outside of that experience, which is what happened for my Bushwick performance today, because I thought I got the dates wrong. I messaged Wes Weddell, who turns out to be a really nice guy. And he made it work so that I could perform this piece, which I was really grateful for because I had no exposure to Mouse before I got this accidental assignment. And what I think makes it a beautiful match for songwriting is that for me, songwriting is a means through which to process suffering and create lightness and healing on the other side of it. And so having a subject that is so full of unimaginable suffering made it an excellent muse for this craft. And there are a couple of moments that really stuck out to me, and I've just enjoyed so much all of the performers here tonight so far, and I can't wait for the other ones of what stood out to them. There was one particular scene where Art is going to his therapist in New York, and he's climbing the stairs, and he's trying to ask him what it was like in Auschwitz and what it was like in the camps. And his therapist yells, "Boo!" at him and really startles him and rattles him and scares him. And he says, it was that feeling all the time. And I thought that was like one of the most visceral ways of just like putting in your mind what that experience must have been like without going through it for just a moment. And then just some of the utterly agonizing images of like, I just don't know how you can survive some of these things. So it is absolutely remarkable to me to have captured here with some detail a survivor's account of such suffering. So I'm just going to get right into the song, those of you who read it, and maybe these things jumped out at you too. But the main thing for me that comes out of learning about such intense suffering is knowing about what comes next and how people carry on. I find that to be an utterly incredible subject. And so this is focusing specifically on survivors of suffering through Mouse and what the future for their descendants will be. Right now it's called Almost, Always, Almost, or Always, Almost, Always. Taking a walk upstairs to my psychotherapist's room, asking about his shadow. What was it like, always, always, almost near the doom? He yelled boo and rattled me. Packed on a train and crammed in a corner of death. What will this skin feel now? What was it like, always, almost, always at the end? Alive, alive, alive. Alive, alive, alive. Survive, survive, survive. Alive, 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 alive. How many places, how many spaces on the earth can you hide your body? Do we let the next generation understand the hurt through a comics hobby? Alive, alive, alive. Alive, alive, alive. Survive, survive, survive. Alive, 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 alive. I'm still alive. May all descendants take their turn. All descendants take their turn. May all descendants take their turn. May all descendants take their turn. Places, how many spaces on the earth? Alive, alive, alive. What was it like, always, almost, almost near the herd? Survive, 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 survive. May all descendants take their turn. Descendants take their turn. May all descendants sisters.
Julia Massey. You can catch Julia with Warren Dunes this Thursday, the 16th at Numos, not all that far from here. And you should. Yeah, both of those things. I mentioned at the very beginning tonight in talking about Bushwick as a 501c3 that in addition to programming with the Bushwick Book Club Seattle, we also have an education program, Style Songwriting through Youth Literature Education, because everything in education must be done in an acronym. I know Julia, who works at elementary school, can certainly tell you that. We take texts that the students are reading, we work with them to talk about inspiration, storytelling, we have them write songs, we have them learn to tell their stories. Sometimes we do that through dance. We have a West African dance program. There's an indigenous storytelling program we offer in schools and libraries. And we think it's really good work. And we record a lot of these songs. We hire local music producers around to create a track, and then we record the kids. And it's really delightful, especially when you put a pair of headphones on a student and they think that what they hear, like somehow the way a microphone works is that you can talk and only you can hear yourself in the headphones. And so you get a classroom full of students who all put on their headphones and they all start going, and they think like, oh my gosh, but we can all hear it and it's just gross. And there's a whole archive of these. And so I asked Jeff Larson in the back of the room there, executive director, to just pull one up so we could just hear a real brief bit of student recording. And that's what you're about to hear right now. Too. And now something that might sound like that, but probably won't, is Reggie Garrett with Christine Gunn. Reggie Garrett has been performing in the Seattle and Northwest scene for a while now with his band, Reggie Garrett and the Snake Oil Peddlers, with Garrett and Wes Scott, Iron John, the Pleasure Seekers, solo, and currently as one half of the Reggie Garrett and Christine Gunn acoustic duo. He has released a number of albums. His most recent, York's Lament and Other Stories, features several songs written for the Bushwick Book Club Seattle and made it into the National Folk Radio Top 10 in 2023. He and Christine Gunn are set to release their first collaboration, The Road Taken. I'm so excited for that. Fun fact, the first live music I heard as a resident of Seattle in 1998 was Reggie Garrett playing at the UW Hub. He's joined us in the past for original music inspired by Animal Vegetable Miracle, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Dune, When the Elephants Dance, Before the Wind, Another Country, Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents, Americana, Blue Highway, Slaughterhouse 5, The Vanishing Half, The Sal Partnership, and more. Reggie Garrett with Christine Gunn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I should say I am a black man wearing a brown fedora and brown pants with brown high-top shoes, a black shirt. Christine's wearing black and her cello. I need to tell a quick short story. When I was in college, my freshman year, I hitchhiked down to see my girlfriend. She was going to a women's college down the road, and it was a really hot day. So by the time I got there, I was all sweaty and pitted out and not fit to be around humans. So she said, you have to wash those clothes. So she let me wear her jeans while I did the laundry. And her jeans were big on her, but they fit me, like, perfectly. They were form-fitting, and I didn't have to wear a shirt. So I'm prancing around this all-women's college in just these jeans, this overall with no shirt. I was a happy man. So it was like the 70s, hippies, flower power, all that stuff. And I wore those things to death. I mean, I wore them, they'd get worn, I'd get patches on them. Had a lady who did patches down the whole front of both legs, just all over the place. Loved those jeans. And I remember one day I went home from school and I was wearing those things, and it seemed to me that my mother was not really thrilled about them. I couldn't understand it. These are like the greatest things in the world. And I'm like just happy as a clam in them. But she didn't seem to like them. So one day we sat down and talked. It turned out she really did not like those jeans. So, I couldn't understand it. So I remember I talked to her. I said, what's going on? And she looked at me and she said, there was a time when that's all we were allowed to wear. And I went, oh, I got it. I didn't really think about that, or wasn't really that aware of it like that before, but when she said that, I got it. And it made me think about what parents go through, what people go through that their kids don't know about and really can never know about. And you can tell them about it, but they're not there. And they're not of that generation, of those aspirations and experiences, so they can never really understand what it is. And when I read Mouse, that's what I kept thinking about. The Holocaust is, it's the obvious. But what really got me was the relationship between the father and the son. And yeah, the son got his father to tell him the story. So he got it, and we got it too. But there's a way in which his son could never, ever really understand what he went through. And in that sense, it wasn't that the father wasn't telling him about this stuff, but there's no way he could know. So I kept thinking about those two different things. Parents trying to protect their children from what they had to go through to the point that the kids don't really know. But then when it comes to the fore, sometimes the parents don't, like, why don't you know these things? Well, you did a good job of keeping it from me. And I couldn't understand anyway. Anyway, I thought about that when I wrote this, and this thing is dedicated to fathers and sons. And the working title is Ich bin nur geboren Nekten, shall become apparent in time. You always make me wanna put you down. So why do you still want me around? You never thought you should have shown what I never could have known. Ich bin nur geboren Nekten, and I was born only yesterday. I can never know your past, and this time could be the last. You make me feel I should atone for what I never could have known. Ich bin nur geboren Nekten, and I was born only yesterday. Yesterday. So much hate and pain. Do you still feel the same? You criticize and moan over what I never could have known. wrote in Latin. And I was born only yesterday. We always scream and shout, and I'm so full of doubt. The distance now is grown over what I never could have known. You always make me wanna put you down. So why do you still want me around? Miss Christine Gunn, thank you.
Reggie, Garrett, with Christine Gunn. You can catch the two of them in concert in Olympia at New Traditions, celebrating the release of that record on January 18th. That's 1 week from tonight, coming right up. January 28th, you can also catch Reggie in a songwriter round at the Tractor Tavern in Ballard. And a reminder, at any time, you can visit his links, Christine's as well. And if you forget what they are, or you don't know, or you can't Google, you can use our digital program, because we make one of those for every show. QR code on the wall, bit.ly/mouse-pgm. Links to everybody who has performed tonight. When you're in arts nonprofit work and the scene is as it is presently, and you work really hard to put together a short video for end of year giving, and then the end of the year happens, you still want to show people the video because you worked really hard on it. So we're going to watch that now.
Hey there, my name is Jeff Larson. I'm Executive Director of Bushwick Northwest. And I want to thank you for supporting our 501c3 nonprofit organization.
The Bushwick Book Club Seattle
stages monthly concerts of new music inspired by books.
This nonprofit's mission
is to deliver literature,
music, and songwriting
to the Seattle community
while building the next generation
of musicians and readers.
I love Bushwick
because it helps me stay inspired,
celebrates different voices,
brings new art into the world,
stimulates conversation,
it puts empathy on display,
supports local artists,
models creative
community in action.
Our community is kind and welcoming,
diverse,
vibrant,
supportive, and fun.
It is an honor to be a part of this community.
I'm extremely happy to claim membership in the fabulous Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
I'm a proud member of the Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
I'm a proud member of the Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
I'm a proud member of the Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
I'm a proud member of the Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
I'm a proud member of Bushwick Book Club Seattle.
Read, sing, repeat.
Thank you. We're still accepting donations from now till the end of this year. And Mike, you kind of stole the show there. Mike Vadova is also helping us out stagehand, tonight. Can't do this work without volunteers. And let's bring up our next performer, who you also saw in the video, Leanna Keith, flutist, composer, improviser. Leanna Keith is a professor of flute at Cornish College of the Arts. Her work focuses on timbre shifting, the mixed race experience, queer theory, and the breaking of genre boundaries. Fun fact, Leanna read 51 books in 2024. And as of January today, 3 books in 2025. So far, she's making the rest of us look bad while sounding so good. Leanna Keith.
Hello, everybody. Oh, there I am. Hello. Am I? Okay, hang on. Seem a little hot. There we are. Okay. Great. Hi, everybody. If you are watching, I guess listening online, I am a ethnically ambiguous femme-them with green hair and mahjong tiles as earrings and also a concerning amount of mouths on a dress. Yes. So when I finished reading Mouse, the very last page is a series of dates. The death date of Art's mother and father, and also the dates in which he wrote the book. And it occurred to me all of a sudden that I didn't know whether or not Art Spiegelman was alive, just due to age. And I decided to Google him. And what I found was that less than a month ago, Art Spiegelman announced that he was going to make a new comic book. And he's 78 years old. And his new comic book is about the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And all of a sudden, all I could think about was how deeply interconnected everything was. From what happened then, to what's happening now, to the fires in LA, to the hurricane that happened in Asheville, North Carolina, to the Uyghurs in China, to everything all at once. And it was overwhelming in the level of suffering. And weirdly enough, as I was thinking about this, I immediately, and I read 51 books last year, I thought of one of my other favorite authors, Naomi Klein, who states that imagination is an inherent act of rebellion. And to create is to be putting yourself into a space of radical activism. And so I thought of what I was going to write for this piece, and I kept getting pulled back to this very old folk tune, 18th century Armenian folk tune, which translates loosely to, "I will not be sad in this world." And so I never do this for Bushwick. I normally don't have sheet music on the stand. I'm actually going to be quoting that folk tune throughout this piece, but it is a structured improvisation, so there will be moments that may surprise both you and me. Okay.
Leanna Keith. We're getting down to it. There's only a couple of songs left, which means after this next song, bidding on the signed poster will close. If that's something you're keeping an eye on, you might want to take this moment to see how you're doing, if your bid is holding up as you hoped it might. I have no shortage of unrequited questions for my long-departed maternal grandfather. And somewhere on that list, not high, but somewhere, is this. Couldn't you have done better than Bernard A. Hirschfield? That was the name on a forged passport, allegedly signed in Grandpa Leon Josephson's handwriting, that drew the attention of the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1947. By then, Grandpa was no stranger to passport manipulation, having run afoul of authorities in Denmark the previous decade for such matters, among others. So you'd think he might get a little more creative with an alias. Bernard would seemingly have its roots with Leon's brother Barney, my mother's uncle, who founded Cafe Society in New York City, regarded by many as the first integrated nightclub in the country, and who was not actually legally Bernard. Hirschfield was Leon's mother's family name. After she married into Josephson's, the family departed Latvia in 1900 for reasons not unlike those that compelled other European Jews to leave, if they could, a few decades later. The middle A on the passport, I'll give him full marks for that. Leon Josephson's story is a layered one, versions of which he loved to tell himself by all accounts. Born circa 1898, he checked out 15 years before I arrived, so everything has come to me through one filter or another. His name is all over freshman U.S. Representative Richard Nixon's maiden speech to Congress in 1947, for instance, but that's pretty dry. The FBI files the family requested under the Freedom of Information Act are more redacted than not, almost comically so. And some of the answers I do have raise new questions of their own, one very much ahead of Bernard A. Hirschfield on my aforementioned list. The one piece of the record I wanted to share tonight, though, comes from the debacle with House Un-American Activities Committee, a saga that ended with Leon being held in contempt of Congress for refusing to be sworn in and sentenced to a year in federal prison, which in turn led to the FBI following him around for the remainder of his life, the source of our familiarity with the Freedom of Information Act. Leon had prepared a statement contesting the constitutionality of HUAC and insisted on delivering it before taking an oath. The subcommittee refused to allow it, and the rest is a bit of family history. One piece of the statement reads, "As a communist and anti-fascist, I took an active part in the fight against Hitler long before most Americans felt that a fight was necessary. I went to Europe and I worked with the underground in Germany. I did not hesitate to risk my life in this work, and I spent 4 months in solitary confinement in a Danish dungeon, charged with attempting to assassinate Hitler. In the course of my anti-fascist work, I helped some people to get into Germany so that they could better fight Hitler, and I helped some others escape from Germany so that they would live to carry on the fight against fascism elsewhere. May we all have the courage to speak up and out against injustice." Thank you. Our next song is coming from Claire Idstrom. You've already heard from Claire. Claire is a Gregory Award-nominated composer and songwriter based in Seattle and Vashon Island. She has worked at Town Hall coordinating events for over 3 years because we're all one big arts family. She has joined us in the past for original music inspired by Moby Dick. She let me know that she found this book to be shorter. Claire Idstrom.
Hi. Hello. It's always nice to be up here instead of running around out there. For the people on the live stream, I look like your dream girl. And that's all I'll say about that. Yeah, this book was a lot shorter than Moby Dick, but there were 2 of them, so that was new. But I feel like everybody has said a lot about what resonated with them in this book, and I kind of echo everybody's. But especially the father-son relationship between the 2 of them. It was, I don't know, I get very forlorn when I think about them. So I kind of wrote from that place. So sorry if this is like really sad. it's all been very sad. Also, can I just say, I've moved this piano many times, but I've never actually played it before today. So it's kind of like when you have a friend for 3 years, but then it becomes more than that. Oh my God.
The line in your furrowed brow, never noticed it until now, till I sat down and drew it out, played the tape back and wrote it down, where the point in the line began. Did it come from the end of my pen, or from things that I don't understand? Drawing a complex man, I still think of stupid things like vanity and wealth. Put a simple task before me, I get overwhelmed. You want something done correctly, do it all yourself. Count out the nails and screws, your pills for the afternoon, the ways that we lick our wounds. Do they bring me closer or further from you? Hotel for the bingo game, steal food from the nice buffet. Always better to walk this way, no one's checking this time of day. My mask covering my shame, how else will I ever explain with words an unnecessary stain? Silent as I drive away, two figures there reflected, held up man to man. Bizarre choice in architecture, predetermined plans. With each of us spiraling downward, doing all we can. What more can I be for you? What loss can I live up to? Can I clean out the residue? Fire to dump your wisdom into. I have all this darkness, Father, but I can't compare to the dust on your chimney, jewels and precious silverware, to the feeling that God is absent, vanished in thin air. I look back on it all tonight, your reunion with your wife, the before and after life, just trying to tell the story right.
Claire Idstrom. Claire will be in the band for 1448 Theater Festival, happening January 17th and 18th. If you don't know about it, go check that out. What people managed to throw together in very little time is astonishing, and it's a real celebration of the really vibrant multidisciplinary arts scene that we have here in town. So check out 1448. Can we get another hand for Mo Provencher running sound? Taking all these different input levels and all these different requests and all these different egos and making it work. Evan Mosier is running sound for y'all at home. And Ryan is your videographer, so some thumbs and hearts for them would be wonderful. Our season graphic design comes from Barbie Statman. The Bushwick Book Club Seattle theme song written and performed by Julia Massey. Band Book Season theme song written and performed by the Half Brothers. The Bushwick Book Club Seattle premise comes courtesy of Susan Wong. Our volunteers tonight, Alicia Baker and Mike Vadava, stage hand and making it work. The Bushwick production team is Jeff Larson, Carrie Garvin, Drea Marilyn, Emily Persia, Wes Weddell. Our photographer tonight, Kevin O. Ron has been our house manager at Town Hall. David has been working the bar. Heidi was at the door along with Tony and Sarah. Bruno, special thanks to Tech Czar Bruno. Anna and Jess are here from the Holocaust Center for Humanity. Can we give all of those people a big round of applause? It takes a village and more. Alicia, you want to come up and tell us who has won the poster?
Daniel Tam-Claiborne.
All right. All right. Presuming that we have a phone number and a credit card number, come claim your prize. All right. All right, and our last song. I should mention our next show this season is happening February 8th at Town Hall, Hugo House. It's original music inspired by banned picture books. Because yes, people challenge and ban picture books. There's apparently 1/16 of an inch worth of naughty bits in one of the Where's Waldo books. Both the Korean government and some folks in Texas banned Brown Bear, What Can You See? Because they confused author Bill Martin Jr. with a different Bill Martin. The list goes on, and I can't wait to see what our artists pick and how they share their own inspiration through music inspired by various banned picture books. On March 8th, we'll be at Hugo House for original music inspired by Fahrenheit 451. That will be our special members-only celebration. Right? It's not that much to join, though we will happily take higher amounts. And you can make it monthly. You can pay annually. We appreciate your support. It feels important that nights like this happen, and it's so nice to share it with so many people in a room, and we want to keep sharing it. Our next time at Town Hall will be, we're doing a double bill, something we haven't done before. But June 14th, we'll be here for original music inspired by Maya Kababe's Gender Queer and Corey Silverberg's Sex is a Funny Word. So we'll be right back here for that. But again, our next show, because we do it every month, is February 8th at Hugo House. And now we are going to hear from Christine Gunn. That's correct. Noted for her expressiveness and versatility, Christine Gunn has performed widely as a solo artist, creating richly layered musical tapestries with a looping pedal, but also as a founding member of acoustic trio Trillion Green, as an accompanist to hundreds of bands, orchestras, musical theaters, and singer-songwriters like Reggie Garrett. She has joined us in the past for original music inspired by Blue Highways, When the Elephants Dance, and Parable of the Sower with Reggie, and solo for I Sing the Salmon Home, Christine Gunn.
I look like a cellist. I have long auburn cello-colored hair, kind of cello-shaped. I'm wearing comically large glasses to me. I don't generally use a mic, but we'll just go with it. So thank you everybody for sharing these wonderful inspirations and pieces from this book. I have read this book several times since it first came out, and you do find that in every different stage of your life it resonates differently. The most significant thing to me right now, I just put a solo show together, and I went around the theme of the solstice, of finding light in the darkness, and how we survive as entities through changing times, which are always going to change. And so I'm going to put this up for a second, but then I'm going to keep talking. I don't need to describe how music works to you, but it's all instrumental. There's a lot going on. So I have a leitmotif, which is a recurring theme through here, which is going to be Vladik's theme. And I'm going to build up a loop, so this is not pre-recorded, in case anybody wonders, much like the beautiful Leanne was doing. Oh, gorgeous stuff. Anyway, yeah, woo. Anyway, so you'll hear the leitmotif throughout, and it's the things that keep you yourself when the times are changing. And so the loop is the progression of the world in which Vladik finds himself, and the motif is himself and what he's doing it for. And we are always changed by what we go through, and we try to change the times as we can, but so the name of the piece is For Anya.
Christine Gunn. Catch her with Reggie on the 18th next weekend in Olympia, releasing that record. Make sure you buy a copy and keep that applause going for all of our performers tonight. Abby Kay, Michael Owcharuk, Steve Mason, Daniel Tam-Claiborne, CARMAIG, GEDDON, Julia Massey, Reggie Garrett with Christine Gunn, Leanna Keith, Claire Idstrom, and Christine Gunn. Thank you, Town Hall Seattle. Thank you, Holocaust Center for Humanity. We'll see you on February 8th for original music inspired by band picture books. I'm Wes Weddell. Take care, be kind.
Inspiration from the page. Now translate.